Groundbreaking medical study this morning suggests that eating nuts may help you stay alive.
Where do we get a nut right now? The study published in the New England Journal of Medicine looks at more than 100,000 Americans over 30 years. It shows that people who ate nuts every day are more likely to live longer. Dr. Holly Phillips, I like the sound of this. So what is it in the nuts? And what kind of nuts should we be eating?
What kind of nuts are we?
Exactly.
But what is it in the nuts?
You know what, this is really an interesting study. It's the largest of its kind to date that actually looked at nut consumption. And what the researchers found was that compared with people who didn't have nuts at all, people who had nuts 7 days a week had a 20% decreased death rate compared to the others that didn't. So now this was not a cause and effect study. This was a link. We can't say it's eating the nuts that increased your lifespan, but it is an interesting link. And the other interesting link that came out of this study was that even though nuts are really fatty, people who ate them daily actually weighed less than people who didn't.
And how many nuts are you talking about? You brought a little bag with
yeah,
you.
here's my demonstration. It's actually even less than this a day that we need to have. This is about 1.5 ounces, and you only need to have about 8 or 9, say, almonds to get the perceived benefits.
I mean, I love nuts. I think they're great. But the thing from nutritionists I've always heard is that because there's so much salt on them, and because they are so high in fat, that you have to really eat them in moderation.
Those don't look like they have salt in them.
Right. Well, so I would say definitely go for the unsalted form.
Boo.
But even though, nuts,
no fun.
I'm just thinking longevity here.
Okay.
But even though nuts do have a lot of fat, it's the good fat. It's the unsaturated kind, like what you would find in olive oil. They also have a lot of fiber, vitamins, minerals, and they're filling, so you may be less likely to reach for something that's not as healthy if you have nuts.
You know, anybody who has young kids knows that there's so many children now who seem to be allergic to nuts. In my kids' school, they don't allow peanuts.
Right.
A lot of kids don't eat peanut butter anymore. What should you do if you're allergic to nuts and you see that these health benefits that exist?
That's definitely a huge issue, but thankfully there are so many other sources of these healthy omega-3 fatty acids, right? Beans, seafood, fortified eggs, my favorite edamame. So if you can't eat nuts, it's not a problem. But it was a very interesting study just showing exactly how nutritious they are.
Right. And is a peanut a nut or is it a legume?
Technically it's a legume. But what was interesting is this study, peanuts were just as beneficial as the rest of the nuts.
All right, so salted honey roasted peanuts with raisins doesn't count in this stuff.
Well, yeah, a little bit.
It's a good combo,
you can
I'm just
sprinkle it
saying.
into your unsalted mix.
Thank you, Dr. Holly Phillips. Good
Great to
news
be here.